The biggest myth is that we think we're too old. Oh my gosh, I see it all the time. I have felt it. We have those moments, oh, I'm too old to do such and such. And people think that. They just think that. They think the best years are behind me. There's so many stories. I put a lot in the book of people that their main thing they did in life, the last part of their life. So many people, businesses, artists, just writers, all kinds of people like that. And because what we have now is we have the wisdom.
Hi, I'm Lennis Woods Mullins, and I love to help women to vibe, to be more vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and empowered in midlife. So come on, let's vibe. I am so aware these days of not so much the aging process, but the stages that you go through the aging, because I've gone through a lot of them. I've gone through my 40s, my 50s, and I'm almost done with my 60s at 68. And one thing that I've noticed with all of them is that each stage brings something to it that's really powerful and gives you a cause for introspection. That's why I'm so excited to talk with our guest today, Allison Davis. She has a new book called 60 is a Good Start, a powerful body, a purposeful life, and a plan to make it happen. And she advocates for reimagining life in the second half, or in my case, maybe in the third half of our lives, and inspiring women to embrace aging as a time for opportunity, vitality, and purpose through sharing three pillars that we're going to talk about today. The three pillars are the body work, the brain work, and the world work. And I tell you, it is so wonderful to have you here, Allison. I know you're an author, you're the traditional naturopath, and the mom of five. How did you decide to come and bring all of that talent and experience together to write this book?
I turned 60 and this was a few years ago. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 60. How did that happen? 10 years from 70, 20 years from 80. It was very jarring. Those prior decades of 40 and 50, I remember on both of those being pretty introspective as that year approached, the year before I turned those decade birthdays, and asking those big questions. What am I doing what I should be doing with my life? And at that point, I was pregnant with my second at 40. I was adopting our fifth at 50. And I was like, yeah, I think I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. But then 60 rolled around and my big three out of the house. I still have two youngers, but they're very independent. And so life was just really dramatically different. And it happens at different stages for different women. It could be 50, it could be 70. It's somewhere in there. It's midlife. It's the second part, maybe the third part. But I think it's just a real transformative time for women where we're really asking, okay, what am I doing with my life? I was restless. I'd been teaching a lot of natural health stuff to women for the prior 10 years. I still do. I still love it. One of my favorite subjects, but I needed something different. I needed something I could sink my teeth into, purpose, what we're talking about, for the next 5 to 10 years, not just for now or this year, but something that was really going to be bigger than that. But I didn't know what it was. And so I went on about a little 7-month odyssey I thought, I think I'm going to have to just say yes to doing some things that sort of pop up that may not be the thing, but are going to lead me to the thing. And that first one was getting in this Facebook group that Jesse Itzler had started. He's the husband of Sarah Blakely, who invented Spanx. He's probably late 50s, I'd say now, maybe he's 60, but he's an entrepreneur. He's all about living your life to the fullest, right? And so he had sold this calendar and the group came with it. And his big thing was he wants you to create a misogi, which is a Japanese word for a life-changing event. Every year he wants you to do that. Decide what's it going to be for this year. And each year you have your misogi. And so it's memorable. So you don't go through life just not thinking and just not having those memories that are significant. And it could be anything at all. It could be hike up a mountain or repair a relationship or lose some weight or write a book or whatever, start a podcast. It could be just anything. And so I'm in this group. I don't know anybody in it. These are just people I don't know, but they're all really living life fully. They're all ages, male and female. And I'm just lurking in the group for about 3 months, 4 months. And it was pretty cool, but I was just reading what people were posting. And so finally, this girl pops up one day and says, I'm going to do 75 hard starting tomorrow. Does anyone want to join me? Well, that's a big challenge. Do you know about 75 hard?
Go ahead and tell our listeners about 75 hard.
Yes, it is a challenge. It was created by a guy named Andy Frisella, and I'd listened to his podcast 4 months prior. And I thought, there's no way I can do that. He's this big, muscular, tattooed guy. I was like, I'm not his target market. He's just weightlifting and heavy duty, probably mostly male is his target market, but lots of women, all ages. And so I just thought, no way. And then she said that, and I thought, oh, I wonder if I could do that. And so I listened to it again. It's like a 45-minute podcast, the details of it. And I thought, I think I can arrange my life to where I can do that. And I like to tell this story because it's such evidence of how we are. I like to say we're the five people we hang out with.
Yeah.
What's our influence? Who's lifting us up, pushing us down? What is the influence in our life? And the only thing that changed was my mindset in those 4 months, and just from reading what these people were doing. And then all of a sudden thinking, maybe I could do that. And so I did it. I did it. And it was an amazing challenge. We make promises to other people, but we don't hold dear to the promises we try to make to ourselves. We make goals and then we flake out. And the New Year's stats, we've all heard them, how people start something in January and then they quit like a little bit later. But I was pretty motivated because I turned 60. That was still like weighing on my mind. And it was my misogi for that year, I decided. So I was like, I've got to do this. So I did that and then did a little bit of mastermind with some women, all ages, an online little group of, again, asking the big questions, looking at alignment. Is what I'm spending my time on each day aligned with what I want? What kind of person do I want to be? And finally, one day, it was 7 months later, I was doing a deep breathing meditation that I like. And I just all of a sudden thought, oh my gosh, I think I'll write a book. I
Wow.
know, it was kind of crazy. And then, of course, my brain, we all have the battle of the brain, was like, what? You're not going to write a book. It's all been said before, right? But no, I think I'm going to write a book. So combining my love of natural health that probably been for about the last 3 to 4 decades, three decades, and then my fascination with longevity, but also creating a real plan because it's one thing to just throw out all that information to people in a book. But I want there to be a plan for people to be able to move that needle forward, baby step by baby step, little by little, because that's how we're talking about the formation of the habits that through multiple studies all pretty much say the same thing in terms of what do we need to do physically, lifestyle habits, what do we need to do mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and then in the world and our relationships and our purpose in the world. So
Now, I wanted to ask you something because you were talking about the 75 hard and all of that. And I said, well, gee, doing that is definitely going to be breaking some of the myths about aging and longevity. What is the biggest myth about?
the biggest myth is that we think we're too old. Oh my gosh, I see it all the time. I have felt it. We have those moments, oh, I'm too old to do such and such. And people think that. They just think that. They think the best years are behind me. There's so many stories. I put a lot in the book of people that their main thing they did in life happened in the last part of their life. So many people, businesses, artists, just writers, all kinds of people like that. And because what we have now is we have the wisdom of all the years that we've been alive, and we have some brain space. Usually, our kids are grown. Maybe we've just had a long, full career or both, but like things, you just get to a point where hopefully you're just keeping the key things that you really want in your life, and you're not doing all the stuff that you shouldn't have done. And so you've got some brain space to think and consider what should I be doing. But I think this is the most exciting time, mostly because of the experience that we've
That's
all
true.
got.
I tell people all the time that we have gathered so much wisdom, and now is the time to really benefit from that wisdom. And
Yes.
accumulated our sum total of experiences combined with the wisdom, there are a lot of things that we have done that can contribute to whatever we determine our purpose to be right now. And that's what is exciting about going through that aging process. But society does such a good job of pointing out all the negatives,
Oh, yeah.
things that we can do to slow the aging process, things that we can do to put back some of the things that we need in order to be vibrant and be energetic as we get older. Our bodies stop producing certain things, but that doesn't mean that we can't find ways to replace it or find
That's
ways
right.
to enhance what we already have. Right
Yep.
now, I'm taking a supplement that helps with the mitochondria, and I can definitely tell a difference. I have
Mhm.
energy, which I need because I need longer days. I was
I know.
after about 3 or 4. Now I have to, Alexa, oops, I didn't mean to say her name. She tells me, Lennis, it's time to go to bed. It's, oh my goodness, lost track of time. So there are things that you can do, absolutely. And I know you've applied some of these longevity strategies in your book. Tell us what some of those strategies are.
Well, like, okay, so under each of those three pillars, bodywork, brainwork, world work, I have the big five. And so the idea, and these lead to the 60-day dare, which we'll talk about in a second, but you are going to choose at least one thing in each of those categories to do for 60 days. So in the bodywork, which is the physical, it's all about what are you eating. So if you want to attack that area, you might add something. You might add supplements. For me, I'm in the middle of a 60-day dare right now with a group, and I am doing 30 grams of protein before I eat anything else. So, like, that's the first thing I have to eat every day. It's been so great. We're on day 36, I think, right now. And
Oh, that's wonderful.
that's always been just a little hard for me to get enough protein in because that for us, this age, we need protein and we need muscle strength. So, number two would be drinking enough water, at least half your body weight in ounces a day. Number three would be move your body. So, I would hopefully, maybe we could do 45 minutes a day. But if you've never exercised and you're just starting, then you're going to design this what works for you. So, if you need to just if walking to the end of the street is like that would be a big deal, then that's what you're going to do every day. You're just going to get outside, walk to the stop sign, and walk back. And maybe you can increase it as time goes on. So I'm giving suggestions, but you're going to design this so you're successful. We don't want to set ourselves up for failure. We want to make these little tiny habits better and better. The fourth one is sleep. So if that's an issue, making sure you've got 7 to 9 hours, there's all kinds of tips and tricks and ways to do that. And then deep breathing is the fifth one, like a deep breathing session every day. So
Yeah.
those are the key five, and there's a lot of wiggle room in there to make it what you want it to be.
And
So
if you're
that's
able to do
physical.
those key five, if you're able to do those key five, as you mentioned right there, you will be in pretty good health.
Oh yeah,
And when you think about it, all those things are common sense, make common
they
sense.
are. They are. All of them are.
They
Yeah.
really, and I know sometimes people get overwhelmed by all this information that's out there.
I know. And
So,
that's why I'm trying to simplify it, trying to make it digestible. And if we can get these main things done that are the big five in each of these, and there may be areas that you're like, oh, I'm good in that area, but I need to work on that area. So that's the idea. If you could get all these going well, that would be wonderful.
fantastic, fantastic. Now that, yeah, that was one of the pillars. What were the other two pillars?
Brain work. So that's the mental, emotional, and spiritual life. So the big five there are right. So that's journaling, morning pages. I remember Julia Cameron, she had The Artist's Way was her book back, God, 30
Artist.
years ago. And the morning pages. So you just, like the first thing you get up and you just kind of continuous write, just let your pen go for 3 pages and not so it's just getting the stuff in your brain out. if there could be trauma somebody has that they just really haven't dealt with, or grief, or just whatever, that maybe they just need to journal and just get that out of the brain. Handwriting is very therapeutic. Onto the paper, throw it away if you want, but that kind of journaling. So that would be the first one. Reading, so nonfiction, uplifting, self-improvement. It could be business improvement, something that is lifting you up, teaching you, improving you. Third one is clear. That is either decluttering your house. So I'm doing that one this time, and it's so great. I can't tell you. 15 minutes somewhere in your house, you are going to declutter. Sometimes I've done just the 15 minutes. Other times it's gone on for an hour or two. It just depends on the day. That is so mental. That just affects us. And it could be on your computer. Like if you're traveling, I'm going to unsubscribe from all the emails I don't need, or I'm going to put all these photos in photo albums that you can do on your phone. I've been doing that too. That's pretty cool because that's the biggest disaster of my life are all the photos. But it's also can be detoxing your home because that's the part of the natural health. We've got to get the chemicals out of our house. What are we cleaning our house with? The skincare, the makeup, the shampoo, the deodorant, toothpaste, all those things. What's in your laundry room, under your kitchen sink, and in your bathroom are usually where we find all the chemicals. And so we need to get those out and clean and use products that are green, that are plant-based, that are healthy, that don't have the chemicals in them. For somebody that's never started that process, that can be overwhelming. That can all of a sudden, when you get that paradigm shift and you start understanding that, you're like, oh my gosh, is this toothpaste bad for me? And I remember about 20 years ago when all of a sudden I started asking all those questions, and it takes a little time, but that's an option there too. And then the fourth one would be meditate, which would include prayer or affirmations, meditation, like at least 10 minutes, I would recommend a day. And the fifth one would be create. So that would be some sort of like art making that's for the purpose of de-stressing. Now, if you're a painter and you sell your paintings, that's not what this is. That would be more in world work. This is for cortisol lowers. That's that stress hormone when we sit and create something. It doesn't matter if you're any good or not. My favorite's needlepoint. I've just in the last 4 years, I've gotten addicted to that. It's creating these heirloom quality items that will live longer than I will. That's what I'm into, but I give a ton of ideas on what you can do, or you can kind of spend that time searching for what you might like. So those are the ones in brain work. So you would choose.
That when I turned 60, hard to believe. I can't believe I'm saying I turned 60 8 years ago. When I turned 60, I was on.
You look gorgeous.
Thank you. I was on my walk, and there's in a voice, that wisdom, Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, was saying you need to go to the store and get some gel pens and coloring book.
Yes.
What? What? I don't have time for that. Well, all the difference, but I did it because I believe obedience is better than sacrifice. So I went and I got the coloring books, and now fast forward 8 years later, I probably have 1,000 gel pens, and I so many coloring books. It's the way that I relax. I ordered these little affirmation cards and scripture cards, and they have places where you can color them in, and I would give them to friends and all that kind of stuff.
I love that.
But yeah, that really
adult coloring books. It's a big deal.
Really
Yeah.
The stress. You're absolutely right about the cortisol levels, which also the stress, as I say all the time, stress is the culprit of so many things.
So many.
And all of that is for us ladies in particular, the whole issue around cortisol that causes so many issues. And many times, that's why holistic living and talking about these things like what you're talking about, which are all holistic, really all come together to support your health. It's amazing that you're saying that journaling could make a difference in your cortisol. Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. Every one of these goes to de-stressing, which is a key thing for sure, especially in the world we live in, especially for a type A personality, which I can tell you and I both are.
Yeah, if I can figure out a way to fix it, I'm going to fix it. But so many things out there I don't even know where to start.
I know. So then we have world work. And so that, again, is your purpose in your relationships. So if you don't know what your purpose is, you're just sort of looking right now and just, oh my gosh, I got to figure something out. The first one's called Dream. And that there are 60 questions. So back to 60 questions that you're going to journal the answer to daily. And I think all of those questions, I hope, are going to lead you to what your purpose could be right now, or at least get you definitely on the road to it. So I love that section. Number two is engage. So that's just engaging in relationship. At this point, now I have my husband I live with. I still have two kids here at home. And so I'm always engaging with people. But there are a lot of people this point in life that are single, live alone, empty nesters, maybe divorced, widow, whatever, and maybe an introvert too. So loneliness, we you hear about that's a big issue today. Loneliness is, especially with technology. So, this is engaging in a relationship somehow. Maybe it is calling someone to go to coffee. Maybe it is making an appointment to talk to my brother who lives across the country and I haven't talked to in way too long. That kind of thing. Just somehow, not a text, but it could be a FaceTime or a Zoom call, or in person would be best if you could do that. But I know some people are, that just isn't going to work for whatever reason. But somehow engaging in relationships. Oh, one other thing on these world work ones, you can rotate these through the week. You don't do one thing every single day. Just the body work and brain work, you do that. These you can rotate. So you might choose well, you might do the dream questions every day if that's really your focus right now. Gather is the third one. That is on the spiritual level. So gathering in a spiritual community of some sort, that's big on all the longevity studies that they all did that. So it could be a big group, it could be a church, it could be a small group gathering, it could be a one-on-one for the purpose of talking spiritual stuff, learning, whatever it is. The fourth one is help. So that's volunteering. So many people find their purpose at this point through volunteering somehow. You could just try some different things and see what you like. I always warn people. I feel like I'm trying to teach people to say no because
Mm.
a lot of people are out there doing things they're not supposed to be doing. They say, okay, I'll do that thing. And then it's really not their thing. They're not in their heart, really. Then resentment can crop up. And that's why those dream questions I think are real important. It's so important to understand who you are, that self-knowledge. I love personality tests, all kinds. They really help you identify who am I? What are my core values? What do I love? What do I desire? What jazzes me up? What gets me excited? Like all those things, it's so important to figure those things out. And then all of your time, we're at the point where time could be short. So all of our time should be spent in those areas. Right. And you could find some volunteer opportunities that do fit into that area. And then the last one I call ACT. And that is if you do know your purpose, you're going to spend at least an hour a day working on it. Maybe it's something that's like maybe you're working still, but you have this thing on your heart on the side that you want to start or
Mhm.
do. So you work on it for a little bit every day.
I love all of those. And I encourage everybody to go ahead and click on the link on the show page that is actually her book. And it is such a revelation in terms of the kinds of things that you can do on a regular basis to basically enhance your life. But the name of the book is called 60 is a Good Start, A Powerful Body, A Purposeful Life, and a Plan to Make It Happen. And I want to ask you, because I know that you have instituted some of these strategies, what changes have you seen in your own life as a result of living this way?
Well, I mean, it's just that it start to become your norm. I mean, I'm already as I have an online program. We're beta testing it now, but anybody can be in it. But where we're all doing it and we're talking every week. So we have a weekly Zoom call for accountability. And people can do this on their own. I think that's really hard. I think you need maybe at least friends to do it with that won't flake out on you. Some people that will like you can hold each other's feet to the fire there, but you can also do it in our group. And as we're doing it, we're talking about how we're feeling each week. And really, it's been like about now at about this point, you just start feeling like this, you're in the flow. Like this is becoming my norm. You really do have to stick it out for the 60 days. And that comes from Dr. Caroline Leaf, the neuroscientist, who's looks in the microscope. She can see habit formation on the nerve cells in the brain. on the dendritic spines of the nerve cells. She can see these little, they're like an umbrella shape that it just grows and grows. And so at least 60 days, could be 8 months. So that's why the book 60 is a good start. But it could be 60 days. It depends on the person, the habit. Is it a physical habit? Is it a thought habit? All these different things that we work on. So it just, I mean, like this 30 grams, I'm eating this 30 grams of protein every morning. Oh my gosh, I'm loving this. And I have never done this to this extent. I'm rarely done it. I tended, I think, before to try to get my protein in at dinner or I mean, I'd get some in, but it's
Putting it
just
on your mind. Yeah, I
it's
always,
so it's sustaining.
yeah,
You
it
know,
is.
I eat that meal in the morning. Like this morning, I sauteed vegetables in my cast iron pan in olive oil. So spinach, tomatoes, onion, garlic, and then threw 3 fried eggs on top, and
Mhm.
then feta cheese on top of that.
Right, right,
Oh
right.
my gosh, it was so good. And
Isn't
it's
it
so
good?
sustaining.
Yeah, it's
So,
interesting because I'm doing intermittent fasting. And so I break my fast with a protein and a healthy fat because the fat helps to absorb the protein.
yes.
And it's amazing. People don't realize that, first of all, you can definitely have protein in every meal and it doesn't have to be meat. One of my favorites is that I stir fry a little bit of spinach with onions and a little bit of garlic and mushrooms. The mushroom has a little bit of protein in it. And then I use some hemp seed to put over it. And then I use eggs as well, but I do a boiled egg and with the boiled egg, I put a little bit of humus on top of it. And I have tomatoes and cottage cheese on the side. And that might
Mm,
sound like a gross combination, but it really isn't. And it's all protein.
yeah.
And my piece de la resistance, of course, is drinking my protein smoothie with
Yes.
my vegan protein powder to make sure I'm getting everything that I need. My goal has been 90 grams of protein a day. That's my goal.
I'll work up to that.
Yeah, that's what I'm working on because I've
That's
just
great.
a strength training program for women over 40 because and what made me decide to do this is that I've always had muscular arms. And then all of a sudden, about 2 years ago when I was in Miami and I was putting on my swimsuit and getting ready to go swimming, I was like, what happened? What's going on? And the reality is we lose about 1 to 2% of our muscle mass every year after
That's
40.
right. That's
So
right.
it really wasn't unusual. It just seems like all of a sudden 20 years of muscle mass came in one day. That's what it felt like. But it raised
Yes.
my awareness. And so started working with the protein first and then doing the strength training. But the thing is that it really isn't ever too late to make a change. And
Never too late.
so much about being vested in the outcome. It's about all the things you learn along the way as you're doing these things. And so I was just wondering for women who are 50 to 70, oh, I'm getting close to that. What's going to happen after that? But anyway, 50 and over, when it comes to shifting their mindset, how can women do that and see this phase of their life as a new beginning? How can we begin to make that change?
Well, I mean, I think part of that is going back to that concept of who are the 5 people you're around. And when I say 5 people, I mean you can add into that what are you listening to? What are you watching? Who are you talking to? I mean, it goes back to that 75 hard thing where I didn't think I could do that thing. And 4 months later, after reading all these people talking about all these things they were going to do, I thought I could do that.
Before you, I'm sorry, I just have to remind myself, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
Okay.
what is the 75 hard? What was it that you did in the 75 hard?
Oh, it was as he called it, a mental toughness challenge, but it was a physical challenge. We
Okay.
had to eat a clean diet. So no dessert, no sugar, no alcohol, none of that. Like it needed to be healthy. I did food combining. We had to exercise twice a day, 45 minutes each time. One of those times had to be outside. It didn't matter if it was raining or whatever, snowing or hot. And one inside and 4 hours in between those two. So you couldn't do it all at once either. You had to drink a gallon of water, which is a lot, but it was fine. Drinking that gallon of water, I had stuff on my face clear up. I
Good.
know it was due to that. And then we had to read 10 pages in a nonfiction book a day. So it was those 4 things. You could, if you messed up on any of them, you started over. If you wanted to do it according to his rules. And if you did, you got to order a cool, here, I keep it out on my, oops, on my, this cool little medallion.
Right.
You had to order it yourself, but it was on the honor system. But so yeah, you couldn't mess one thing up.
That's
So
fantastic.
it
I
was
just
great.
want to make sure I got that in
Yeah.
because I remember we talked about that before, and I wanted everybody to know what that really entailed. And congratulations on your 75.
Thanks. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So now going back to how to get motivated to change that mindset and what we need to do. You were talking about that.
Well, so what I just said about the really seeing what you're listening to, who you're around, and all of that kind of stuff. I think another help is this concept of environment triggering behavior. Environment triggers behavior. What do we want our behavior to be? Okay, so we got to set up our environment to trigger that. That's really what the blue zones, where all the centenarians live around the world, that's what their situation was. Their environments just naturally triggered the behavior that has led to their longevity. But, for instance, are your tennis shoes sitting out where you can see them and put them on and go for that walk or go to the gym, whatever it is, or are they hidden in the closet and you just kind of don't think about it? When I walk in my office here, I have a pretty crystal bowl with all my supplements in little baggies. So I just grab one every time I walk in, and if they were hidden in some cabinet, which they used to be before I figured that out, that's I'm gonna miss them. Or in your refrigerator, at the eye level, you have your fruits and vegetables in glass bowls. So it's like the first thing you see. Like set up your refrigerator to have all the healthy things in there, and your cabinets. And I actually, it's back behind, but I usually have a floor cushion right here on my up to the coffee table. So sometimes I sit in the chair, sometimes I sit on the floor. It's just that more movement. Like the Japanese, they sit on the floor, their beds are on the floor, they're up and down, up and down. And so just different kinds. You can look at everything. What is a habit you want to change? Okay, how can I make my environment trigger that behavior? I'm a big post-it note person. Put a post-it note on where your computer, your bathroom mirror, wherever you get ready, to tell you, to remind you to do the things you need to do. My nighttime supplements are sitting in a bowl, my nightstand. So just those kinds of things, I think, help us to do the thing that we say we want to do. And the other
Nice.
thing I will say is, the other line I like is, our future is hidden in our daily routine. So these are daily routine things. It's like we have to ask ourselves, what kind of person do I want to be in a year or 5 or 10 years? Who do I want to be? Do I want to be? I always think about, it was about 10 years ago, I started following this lady online. She's an influencer, and she's probably, I think she's almost 60 now. She was a little younger than me, but she was a business person, an entrepreneur. She taught online entrepreneur type stuff, but she was also very into fitness. And she and her husband both, that was always like in the background of everything they were doing, was this fitness oriented stuff. And they would travel, go to a hotel. The first thing they did when they got to the city was find the gym. And I just remember thinking, I want to have that kind of fitness mindset.
So that kind of, yeah,
Like, because I think some people are like, well, I just am who I am. Well, no, who do you want to be, though?
right.
Right?
So true. Wow. Thank you so much, Allison, for all this wonderful information. And it's so easy to digest. But I say this all the time about community. It's wonderful to get all this information because information is power. But acting on the information, that's what makes you powerful. So
Yes.
thank you for being such a powerful guest and sharing all this wonderful information with us. And all of you, as I said before earlier, please go ahead and take a look at the show page and you will see Allison's website and her book, as well as all of her social media. And reach out to her because you do have a 60-day program that you have, and you're working on one that's online as well. So whenever you might listen to this podcast, definitely go to her website and find out what
Yeah.
the latest and the greatest is with Allison Davis.
Yep. There's a planner that goes with the book, and then there's the planner.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Allison, thank you so much for
Thank you.
on the Vibe Living podcast. It's been wonderful having you here today.
Thanks so much.
And thank you to all of you. I just love being able to bring to you some of the premier experts in the field of mind, body, spirit, wellness, with the idea of using the holistic practices of fitness, nutrition, and the spiritual renewal to help you to vibe, to help you to be more vibrant, intuitive, beautiful, and empowered in midlife. Thanks so much for listening. Have a fantastic day. And don't forget to vibe. Bye-bye, everybody. Thanks for listening to the Vibe Living Podcast. And don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment, and share this podcast. Have a fantastic day, and don't forget to vibe. Bye-bye, everybody.